guys. I think I'm live. I've got this, pardon me, set up. Yeah, working on this powers piece here, obviously. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I haven't done like a video in a while, and I'm doing this live, but unlisted for now, just because yeah, I didn't want to actually. But it's been a while since I made a video, so I thought I'd go ahead and just film myself here. And yeah, basically I'm gonna work on this, and then I'll tell you how I built it, and walk you through my process a little bit. So underneath this, I printed out my sketch. My sketch was originally drawn in a sketchbook, which I have over there. I then printed it out and did a couple of elements digitally, one of which was this wall here and these stairs that they're running up. Just freehanded it. There's a Google SketchUp of background here. So it's just the buildings and stuff, but I've got to bring it all to life. I copied their images and then stretched it out for what will be their shadows on the wall on the inside of this broken thing here. And just like free-handed, free-eyed, all the sort of curved perspective of the stairs and stuff. So I'm going to start inking with these Kuretake brush pens. I'm hoping I have enough ink. Don't run out in the middle. The thing I like about these brushes almost entirely is they're so incredibly practical. They have great they just hold up really, really well, and they're so versatile. It's crazy. Actually, so what I should do is I'll kind of tighten up some of the things in pencil first that I know I need to work on. I'll flesh out his gun here a little bit. His hand looks very small. That helps. And then I remember over here, this looks pretty muddy. It's really weird how much I think it's just the experience. It's not something I did on purpose or planned on doing, but that I can work pretty extensively from super loose. Like when I tighten this up, I'm just defining some of the shapes for myself, but it's not really that tight, you know. I feel a little rusty this morning, so I'm just gonna go right into the outlines. It's kind of my favorite part. The light is coming from below here because they're going to be lit up there. So that means light's going to get darker up here. You know, one thing I could use some suggestions or help with is, so I've got my camera like right here, and it's sort of just fighting with my forehead. You know, I want to get in a little closer, but I keep bumping into it. But if I have the camera off to the sides at all, then the images get just distorted too much. So I'm wondering what other people do out there, like where they set these cameras up. I didn't want to start with his face first, but damn, it looks like I'm going right there. So a lot of times when I'm making it, I don't exactly know where I'm going or, you know, what the next line is going to be. Typically, I'm just kind of listening to the mood. There's a sort of artistic inner voice that you listen to. God, it sounds so BS-y. But I guess it's kind of like if you play sports or anything that you're good at with like reflexes and stuff. It's sort of the same thing. You build a what's the word? An instinct. You know, that's not necessarily built on conscious choices. Keep his face line nice and thick here. And that shadow where the light is coming from below. Guess I'm gonna use a ruler for parts of his gun. I go back and forth between using rulers and not using rulers. I like that kind of freehand straight line, but typically if you're going to do a freehanded straight line, it should at least be over a pencil line that you lay down straight so that your eye has something straight to follow, your eye and hand, even if there's wobbliness to it, which is kind of what I like about typically freehanding straight lines. But I go back and forth, especially as I work digitally, and some of that's just super easy to do very straight lines with the digital stuff, because I absolutely love digital tools, but they do a lot of work for you, including like straight line stuff. And it's interesting how the incredible freedom and time spent on digital tools also comes with a small price to pay, which is sometimes it's too easy to do things, to fill in areas that don't need to be filled in, or to add backgrounds that don't need to be there, that would actually do better with like negative space and stuff, just because it's so incredibly easy now to make pages digitally. Using Google SketchUp, there's tools inside the digital tools that like do the perspective for you, all of which is great, but also super important that you learn those basics. So otherwise, you might not use those tools correctly. Especially perspective. I see a lot of perspective done out there where you can see the perfection of the digital tools, and then the artist doesn't exactly know where the eye line is, and then characters are kind of hanging weird in this perspective. It's all perfect around them, but they're not part of. No, I'm not happy with this part of this jacket. Let's see if I can save it. There we go. I like that. That's okay. Now with the black that I'm laying down here, it's because I'm spotting all of it in my mind. My mind that can't seem to do normal everyday things, but yeah, I can figure out where all the shadows are gonna fall without laying them down. But I can't remember to close doors and stuff like that, which is a problem here because like we have a cat who will break into things and eat whatever he can because he's crazy. And I keep forgetting to shut the cabinet doors, and he goes in there, eats all the food. This is the content you've tuned in for. Since his shadow is casting up here, this brick thing is going to be pretty open, so I don't have to worry about the outline of his jacket too much. There we go. think I'll do the stairs all freehand. I'm just going to have everything kind of beat up here. I wonder why I started back there with Walker. That's weird. Let's use the background. Usually I go foreground first. And it's probably just because I got this camera plopped in front of my face and trying to talk while I work. Now, as I've gotten older, one of the weird things is work-wise I can multitask, but I'm having trouble multitasking everywhere else in my life in a way that used to be easy for me. But now that I'm older, I'm discovering it's getting harder. Like talking while I'm working used to not be a problem. I mean, when I was young, I had like a group of friends. We'd hang out in an apartment and draw, talk all day. Can't do that now. I can barely talk to you guys while I'm doing this. Maybe I'll just do more silent videos where I just don't have to worry about it and put pressure on myself. Alright, so again, the lighting is coming from like down and below, so Dina's going to get a nice big shadow across her pants. Got our badge here. See what I mean? I can ink this whole thing with this brush, and I don't have to like pick it up to dip or anything. And there's a lot of different kind of brushes like this out there. This is just one of them. Inside it has a refillable tip. It just comes off of here. I did have to buy some syringes offline. Had to play around with them a little bit to figure out what had the right gauge to release the ink and stuff to refill. Because these do come with their own inks, but I don't like them, so I'll empty them out and then put my own ink in. I'm going to leave the shadows under her belt buckle open because the light, again, coming from below. I'm going to allow this to be a little loosey-goosey, too. When I work digitally, everything is super tight. And even that, I'm trying to figure out ways to loosen up, give it more life, more happy accents. The other thing, I gotta watch out for the ink to dry. I'm so not used to that. When I'm working digitally, I don't have to worry about the ink drying. But I do a lot of little smears, unfortunately, working analog, because I'm just not used to giving it a few seconds to dry up, I don't do a lot of rendering anymore either, do a lot of like solid lines like this. But I've learned just keep the rendering to sort of a minimal. And for whatever reason, rendering meaning this kind of feathering that describes a line or a shape. For whatever reason, I feel like as I've gotten older, like all those rendering lines that used to add a lot of energy now feel superfluous. Maybe that just comes with age. I don't know. I didn't know. Dina's modified belly shirt. The reason I say that is because when we created this belly shirt for her, it was kind of a joke, like a self-aware joke, about the overly sexy cops. And she makes a joke about it and stuff. But it's just so kind of out of place and time anymore. It's fun to bust out every now and then. But typically now when I'll do the belly shirt, I just make it like a tiny bit of a belly shirt, not like her belly button showing like we did for a while. It was so ridiculous. But it fits the character. She's you know, she likes being the center of attention. Um, well, maybe not the center of attention. She likes making people uncomfortable, which is different. So her muscles kind of dip in here, so the more shadows, the shoulders coming out, so it gets a little lighter to darker and heavier. Heavy on this side, because again the light is coming. The object of her arm, that whole shape of it, that kind of cone shape, it's going to get thicker as it comes closer to us. Same with the forearm. The other thing I like about digital is, unfortunately, and I'm sorry I keep talking about getting old, but the eyesight, it's just harder. You know, 30 something years staring close up to artwork has taken its toll. My nearsighted vision is just really bad now. So, you know, working digitally is often just a huge relief to my eyes. But digital and analog have different advantages and disadvantages, things that I like and dislike about it. So I go back and forth, which I think helps keep the art fresh, whether it's for me or for other people. Like even people who don't necessarily like my work, they might like the digital stuff a little bit more, just because by nature of what it is, the lines are thinner, there's a little bit more detail. So it's ironic for from the mainstream stuff, I really lean on the digital stuff just to make it more palpable for mainstream audiences. But those are also the pages that would sell the most, because, you know, they're widely familiar characters and stuff, like in Justice League and Midnighter stuff. But I'm drawing them digital, so I don't have any originals. One of the other brushes I really like, it's not a brush, it's a pen. This is the, screw me, I'm forgetting the name of it now. Bimoji, Bimoji, brush pen. I use this extra fine one, and it's just a marker, but like the variation I can get out of it, it's really nice. And so I use these mostly for smaller details that would be almost brush-like, that need, you know, just a little more variation, but still thin, almost like a pen. I wonder if you can hit that TV at all. So I think I'm just gonna, I'll probably do these in 2 parts, because I'm gonna need a break or something soon. Dina's shirt, make sure that the 5 doesn't line up exactly because of the shape of her body and her chest, and she's leaning forward as she's going up the stairs. Yeah, sometimes I'll kind of hold all the pens at the same time in my hand that I'm working with. Alright, let's get into more face stuff here. Alright. It's a little nerve-wracking, the faces, you know. This pen is starting to get a little too dull. Sorry right now, but it's just getting there. I'm gonna have to switch it out. What I do is I mark the duller pens, like when they've been used for a while. I'll mark them at the tip like this, so I know that, you know, they're not like a super crisp line. But look how fun this is. Thin, thick, because the lights come from below, so the bottom part of the hair, thin, thick. There we go. That worked out alright. I was holding my breath through it. Alright, so this is all black over here because of her shadow. So I'm keeping that in mind of like what shapes are actually showing, what aren't, what's necessary to see, what isn't. And just so that we can see it. You can see this drawing underneath because I've kind of run out of paper, so I'm just using some old paper that I had. And that's like older projects. I think this was a Hammer of the Gods thing from when I did some Mice Templar backup stories with it. So you can see some other artwork underneath because I'm cheap. Actually, I have like artwork that was returned to me from DC on a project for Piranha Press, I think it was called at the time, or Paradox, I can't remember. And that artwork is like 30 years old. And I'm keeping all the paperwork and drawing on the other side of it. Yeah. Alrighty, I'm going to take a break and then we'll do part 2. We'll continue on in the next little video.